Welcome back to Silicophilic. I have been working with system migrations for a while, so I thought cloning my Windows 11 setup would be simple. It wasn't. The clone completed, however, when I booted, it felt like nothing was there. That's when I realized on Windows 11, it's not just about the tool, it's everything underneath. So instead of asking which tool should I use, the real question is, why do most Windows 11 clones fail? And here is what I did to fix it. Why this feels easy until it fails. On the surface, cloning looked simple. Copy one drive, then paste it into another, then boot. But Windows 11 introduced requirements that changed everything. Trusted Platform Module 2.0, Secure Boot, GUID Partition Table, GPT instead of MBR. There aren't just checkboxes, they directly affect whether your clone system will boot at all. And this is where most preferred perfect clones fail. The hidden problems that break clones. 1. The GPT versus MBR trap. If your old system is using MBR and you clone it directly to a modern NVMe drive, it might not boot. Windows 11 expects GPT plus UEFI. Without that conversion, the system simply won't recognize the new drive properly. 2. The BitLocker problem nobody mentions. If BitLocker is enabled and you clone the drive without suspending it first, you're not getting a working clone. You are getting a locked system that cannot decrypt itself on new hardware. Here is how you can disable BitLocker. Launch Settings, go to Privacy and Security, then Device Encryption. Disable the toggle for device encryption. This way, BitLocker will be disabled and the decryption process will begin. 3. The perfect clone that won't boot. This one is frustrating. Everything copies correctly, no errors, no warnings. But when you boot, you find nothing. This happens because of storage controller differences like A8CI versus NVMe, old chipset versus new motherboard. Without proper driver injection, Windows doesn't know how to talk to the new hardware. Upgrading to a new SSD in the same laptop. Instead of free versus paid versions of the cloning tools, think in terms of your situation. If you are upgrading to a new SSD in the same PC, then you can use Macrium Reflect. It supports rapid delta cloning, meaning it only copies what's changed. This saves time and reduces unnecessary wear on your SSD. Here is exactly how I use the tool. I installed and opened Macrium Reflect, then selected my current drive, the one with installed Windows. Then I clicked on Clone this disk. Next I choose my new SSD as the destination drive. After that, I dragged all the partitions from the old drive to the new one. This step is important, don't just copy the C drive. Make sure every partition is included so the system can boot properly. Once everything looked correct, I clicked Next, then Finish, then Run to start the cloning process. After the clone completed, I shut down my PC and removed the old drive. Then I powered it back on, and it booted directly from the new SSD without any issues. That's it. No reinstall, no setup, just a clean clone and a faster system. Recovering data from a failing drive. Now, if you're recovering data from a failing drive, then you can use Clonezilla. However, the tool is not beginner friendly, but it can ignore bad sectors, something most consumer tools fail at. I used it to clone the failing drive, and it worked surprisingly well despite the drive condition. Whenever it encountered damaged sectors, it didn't crash or freeze. Instead, it skipped over them and continued the process. This meant I could recover most of the important data without interruption. It also copied only the used portion of the disk, which made the whole process quicker than I expected. Since it turns from the bootable USB, I didn't have to install anything on the system, which felt safer given the drive was unstable. The interface took some getting used to, but overall it provided to prove to be a reliable tool for handling a situation where simpler software would likely fail. Moving to completely different hardware. For moving to a completely different hardware, you can choose Acronis Cyber Protect. Its universal restore feature injects the drivers needed to boot on entirely new systems. This solves one of the biggest causes of cloning failure. Steps I followed to clone and move to new hardware. I installed Acronis and opened it on my system. From the main dashboard, I went to Tools and clicked on Clone Disk. That's where the whole process starts. Acronis Cyber Protect keeps the cloning process very guided. It offers an automatic mode which takes care of partition resizing on its own, so you don't have to manually adjust anything. The interface clearly lets you pick a source disk and destination disk, making it easy to understand what's being cloned and where it's going. It also gives a warning before deleting data on the target drive, which helps avoid mistakes. There is also an option to prepare the clone for different hardware, which is useful when moving to another system. Finally, the summary screen shows all your selections before starting, and once you click Proceed, the cloning runs automatically without needing further input. Overall, the UI is simple, step by step and designed so even complex tasks like disk cloning feels straightforward. Sometimes the best move is not cloning at all. If you are moving from an old PC to a brand new Windows 11 system, then it's advisable not to clone. Instead, you can do a clean install. Then move your data, because cloning brings everything with it, like old drivers, broken registry entries, background junk you forgot existed. These ghost issues can make a new system feel slow or unstable. A clean install avoids all of that. What happens after 100% matters more than the clone. Most guides stop when the progress bar finishes. That's where the real problem begins. After cloning, your system might still try to boot from an old drive. You need to enter UEFI or BIOS, set the new drive as the primary boot device. It is advisable not to boot with both drives connected for the first time. Windows can mix up drive letters, assign incorrect boot paths. That confusion can break the clone instantly. If your clone isn't properly aligned, you lose performance. Tools like Disk Manager can confirm alignment, ensuring your SSD runs at full speed. A quick reality check before you start. Before you clone anything, check if BitLocker is turned off or suspended. Your system is using GPT plus UEFI, or are you moving to similar hardware or completely different? If you can't answer these, the tool won't save you. So cloning in Windows 11 isn't harder because tools get worse. It's harder because systems get stricter. Once you understand the risks, GPT, secure boot, BitLocker, drivers, everything starts making sense. And when you choose your approach based on your situation, that's when cloning actually works. That's the reality behind Windows 11 cloning. When it works, it's smooth. But when it fails, it usually comes down to things most guides never mention. If you understand the risks like GPT requirements, BitLocker, and driver mismatches, you are already ahead of most people trying this. If this helped, consider liking and subscribing for more practical Windows guides. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.